I'm Kurt. Welcome back to Synox U. Today we're here to talk about our new and improved boxer gutter machine. We're going to go over a few things that are important with this machine, some things you need to be aware of, how to engage the stiffening beads on the bottom. We're also going to show you how you need to set the hangers. We'll put some end caps on. We'll show you the aqueduct screen that's also available with this. So we're going to get started here in just a second, and we're going to start from loading it to actually getting a piece of gutter ready for install. Okay, before we get started, we want to make sure our machine is actually ready to run. So there's a few things that you want to check before you get started. One, do I have the right power cord? You need to make sure you're running at least a 10 gauge cord, nothing smaller when you're running any of the gutter machines out there. Second, I need to make sure on my controls that I actually have it in the jog position and the forward position so that when I go to load the coil, I can feed it from the back end of the machine. Now also on the box gutter machine, we've got this stiffening bead on the bottom of the guillotine. Now you can engage this and disengage it while the gutter is in the machine. So this will help if you got areas where you got particularly long runs or you're really worried about oil canning. You can run this at all times. Or if you're going for that cleaner look and you're willing to be careful and take your time hanging this gutter, you can disengage this, but you don't need to take it off. It's got an eccentric shaft here, which when you spin it, raises the bottom roller, lowers it, so it causes it to engage. Also, you've got to make sure that the emergency stop button at the back of the machine is in the out position. So it's in the out position now, and everything works. I've got power. If you accidentally hit that and it gets engaged, it kills all power. So new machine owners will run across this occasionally out on the job site and not realize why their machine's not working. So this always needs to be in the outward position if we're going to go ahead and start working. Okay, so now we're going to load this coil. You notice on these new cradles, this is a brake. So you always want to make sure the brake's in the back of the spool or the cradle here. Now, if your brake's in the front, you can pivot this by pulling out. There's a little Allen screw in here that holds it in place. You can pull that out, and the whole thing will pivot around. But remember, the brake goes in the back. This keeps our spool from completely unrolling on us while we're out in the field running gutter. Okay, so this, just like your K-style machine, we need a 3" by 3" tab. Now, you don't need to take a tape measure to this and make sure you're exactly 3 inches up and 3 inches over. Just kind of guesstimate it and cut you a little triangle out of the corner. What this does is it allows the coil to enter the lip boxes without binding up in any of those first bends. So very important that you do this on all your gutter machines. Now this particular machine loads like the half rounds do. So what I mean by that is we've got a little crank here that helps us crank this in. And I've got two little guide bars. So my coil goes in between these nylon rollers and on the top side of these guide bars here and then into the machine. So we'll go ahead and start feeding this in. Once it grabs, you can use the crank to get it to where you need to go. So I can feel it hitting the first drive roller, so now I can hit the jog button and start the feed process. Now, I believe that you want to jog the material all the way through the exit end of the machine to make sure we don't have any hang-ups. Don't think it's a good idea just to hit run at this point, so we'll jog this through. We're going to go to the other end, get our coil coming out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so right now, my beater's engaged, and I don't want to do beads on this job, so I'm going to go ahead and disengage that. So there's 2 set screws on this shaft. If we loosen those, just a pinch, then we can spin this eccentric shaft where it's not engaged anymore. We're going to go ahead and cut this off of the guillotine so we don't have to use a hacksaw or anything like that. So that's one of the big benefits of having a guillotine on this. So we'll cut this out. We'll run out a little bit of a piece. We're going to go ahead and put an end cap on here. And then we're going to run this piece of gutter out. We're going to put some hangers in, etc., and also show you how the screens work. Okay, so we've got this piece run out and just sitting on the run out stands. But any box gutter, whether it's ours or anybody else's, are incredibly sensitive to oil canning and waving in the face. So you got to be real mindful for how you handle this stuff. First, you need to make sure your first run out stands no more than 10 foot from the exit end of the machine. Then after that, no more than 15 feet. Another thing you've got to be real careful with is you don't want to be taking a piece of this gutter longer than 30 foot and carrying it with one person, because what's happening is that gutter's bouncing as you're carrying it and it's stretching that aluminum. So when you go to hang it, you're going to automatically have a little bit of a pre-stretch in that metal, so oil canning is going to show up a lot quicker. So anything over 30 foot, you need 2 bodies on. So we've got to be real careful with this particular product, whether it's our box or anybody else's. So just keep that in mind. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the end caps that we have made for our box gutter machine. Now these are designed to slip over the outside. You can put them on with screws. I personally believe the rivet look is much cleaner. So we're going to go ahead and install a couple of these so you guys can see what that looks like. And we're also going to put some of our hangers in and show you how you need to install your hangers on this particular system. We also have a screen type hanger called Aqueduct that is your hanger and the screen all in one. And we're going to show you what that looks like and show you how that's installed as well. So you guys that aren't real familiar and hadn't done a lot of rivets, there's a couple things I want to point out to you that are critical. First, so these are a 1/8 number 42. Now the eighth means, what that means is the body's an 1/8 of an inch. The 42 means the length, 1/4 inch. So you can get an 1/8 inch 44, which would be a 1/2 inch length and an 1/8 inch shaft. That being said, that does not mean I need an 1/8 of an inch drill bit to make this hole. If I use an 1/8 of an inch, it's going to be the exact same size as this. And what will happen occasionally is, as you go to tighten this rivet and this metal expands, is it'll pop the head off because it's too tight. What you need is a number 30 drill bit, which is 128 thousandths. So a 1/4 or an 1/8 of an inch would be 125. So we're only adding 3 thousandths of an inch, which is less than a human hair, but that will make your life putting rivets in night and day easier without failures. So be sure you've got the right drill bit. We do sell them at the branches. So we're gonna go ahead and set this this end cap on here, and we're gonna start putting some rivets on this. So as you can see, this one is designed to wrap around the outside. There are no crimping. So I've got the drill bit drilled done. I'll hold everything in place so it stays. Go ahead and pop the rivet in. I'm gonna put one down here at the bottom, and then I'll go ahead and put one up here at the top. So we're gonna go ahead and install this outlet. I know that I want it 18 inches on the center from the end of the gutter, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my tape in here so I can pull a measurement. So I've got to mark it. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed these yet. We got these really cool new Carpenter pencils with red lead, so it makes it a lot easier to see on this shadow back wash coat versus the old graphite that we had, the old ones. Now that's just a center marking point. You know, we don't have to be perfect on this, just kind of eyeball center. Get that popped out. So all I'm doing is I am just setting a few threads in there where I know it'll stay. You don't need to thread it in all the way by hand, just get it set. And then I get this in about the spot I want. Now, if you pull down on this handle just a little bit, it'll lock this in place so it's not one to twist and turn on you. So don't try to hold it up here like this because it's going to want to be spinning on you. Get it where you want it, where you think it's, you know, pretty square, pretty well centered. Pull down just slightly. Get your impact in there. Make sure it's seated. Now, once I know that it's engaged, I'm moving my hand and I'm not pulling down anymore. I'm just simply holding the outlet punch. Okay? We've cut the back of this thing off, so it'll work really good if you've got to add a downspout while your gutter's already on the house. You didn't put enough in, somebody didn't want you to put enough in, now you're back adding one because it's overflowing. So this is a great little tool. It's guaranteed for life. So, and then all of our outlets, we've got these little dimples. And you're going to hear when I go to install this. So if you listen closely, you'll hear this thing pop. Hear the pop? Pop, pop, pop. Let's move on down to get our stuff out of here, get our hangers in here and start putting those in. And then all we got left to do is seal it. Okay, so now we're gonna get our hangers in and do what we call is set them. So this is your 6-inch Bear Claw boxer hanger. You can see it's got a preloaded screw. This is a 2-inch screw. All of the Bear Claw products have what we call is the pocket lock lip. That basically means instead of it just being like this on the front lip on your traditional gutter machine, this lip actually goes like this in a little hump, and we have a piece of metal go up inside, then another one on the outside that clamp and hold it into place. One of the benefits of this is you don't get gutter rattle on long runs in areas that are real windy. Another thing is with this small amount of lip here on the top, it drastically cuts down on the amount of tiger striping that you're going to see on the gutters. Will it eliminate it? No. The only way you can eliminate tiger striping is to be in an area with no dirt, blowing in the air dust, and no humidity. So we want to start our hangers at approximately 6 inches from the end cap. Now that's an approximate. Now these machines all have the hanger mark on them where it puts a little dimple every 8 inches because I want to get my hangers 24 inches on center approximately. So we'll go ahead and set this first hanger. And you can see it's up just a little bit above the back of the gutter. So what I'm going to do is just push it down a little bit. That's called setting your hanger, okay? So that's going to vary a little bit from hanger to hanger, but we want to make sure we go ahead and do that. See, we're just a little above. That's really, you don't have to set that, but you can go ahead and do that and just make it level. It might make it a little easier, less likely to pop out on you. So now these will take a little bit longer for you to get used to setting these hangers in versus the traditional OG style. Just for the simple fact that you're threading this lip inside this hanger essentially, so be mindful of that. But once you get the hang of it, you can go pretty fast. Now it's important on this machine and any other machine, when this machine is running gutter out, we're not putting hangers in, because anytime we're touching this gutter or doing anything to it, while it's in the run position, we're affecting the finished product coming out of the machine. We can take a machine that's running perfectly straight gutter, but by messing with it when it's running, cause it to run into the house, away from the house, uphill or downhill. So we don't touch with this gutter coming out of the machine unless the machine is stopped. It doesn't have to be removed from the machine. It can still be in there, but just don't want it running still, okay? All right, so I'm just gonna blow the shavings out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and seal this up. I'm a big believer, and I'd rather put too much in here than not enough, because I don't like going back for leaks. And make sure you get those rivet heads in there too when you're doing this. Now this will level out as it starts to cure. Make sure you got it all in there, tucked in there good. You're up high on this end cap. So let's go do our outlet real quick. So now I know this is in here securely, but we still want to go ahead and put sealant around our outlets. The reason is water will seep underneath these flanges, and you're going to get drips that will stick to the bottom of the gutter and come out here. It's not going to be a major amount of water, but you are going to have some people that won't be happy about that. So I highly recommend, again, a 1/10 of a tube of sealant versus a trip back to a job site to seal an outlet is much cheaper, much cheaper. So we've got our aqueduct screen, so we need to get this installed. So I'm going to take this front little groove right here, and I'm going to start it on the pocket, okay? And once I get it all started all the way down, then I can kind of pop it in place. All right, so we've got our screen installed. I trimmed this lip because it generally hangs over a 1/2 inch, this overlap that we put into the screen. I trimmed it so it would sit down here nice and flush on the ledge of this end cap. So we've got a little leveling tool that will go in here. It's basically like a giant U. It's got a hook that you can hook in that, and you bring it down flush with the bottom. When it does, it puts us in a perfect position. If I do not have to go behind flashing, I can put rivets in the back of this just to hold it in place, and I would go ahead and tighten that on there. That would hold this screen in place. Now the other screen option you've got is our expanded metal, the black powder coated stuff, and here it is. Now I want you to look closely at these two lips, okay? So we've got this one here. The smaller one's going to go in front, the bigger one's going to go in back, okay? So it's designed to catch on the head of the screws. Now we don't have this installed, but you can kind of get the idea here how it goes, right? And then this front will hook on these hangers. So in this particular way you would do this one, you always, just like you do with step lock, you put the back end first, then you run your hand along here. But it makes for a real clean look once you've got it installed. Thanks for stopping back with us today. I hope this answered all your questions about our new Boxer gutter machine. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to your customer rep. We'll be sure to help you any way we can. Thanks.